Okay, SMX facts time. Let's bring Clinton Fowler on. You're the stats guy. We've completed one leg of the 2024 championship, Monster Energy Supercross. Give me the stat that sticks out the most to you.
Well, it has to be the most obvious one, which is Jett Lawrence being the third rookie to win the Premier Class title in the history. 50 years, and we've only had it 3 times. Jeremy McGrath in 1993, Ryan Dungey in 2010, and now Jett Lawrence in 2024. JT, obviously, incredibly impressive season. I thought it was pretty interesting looking at the numbers to see it was almost like they were podium or bust in both Jeremy McGrath's season and Jett Lawrence's, where Jeremy had 10 wins and 12 podiums. Jett had 8 wins and 10 podiums. But what do you see and how do you rate these guys when you look at the 3 rookie seasons?
Well, I kind of see McGrath and Jett very similarly. They both felt like they were in a breakout mode and ready to go on a run of championships here. And really the learning moments were what caused Jett to be off the podium or win. You know, if everything was equal and he got a decent start, didn't crash, he usually won or very, very close. It was the moments where he maybe pushed the limit a little bit too much, wanted to get the win. Think about Anaheim 2, poor decision making at times. Those are the ones that really cost him. But when everything was equal and he was just left to his own devices, he was the best rider in the class and he often won the race. That's very much how I saw McGrath in 93. Now, Ryan Dungey was a little bit different. I think Ryan Dungey often won through consistency. He always avoided the critical mistake. That was his calling card. Yes, he was incredibly talented. Yes, he was fast. But every time someone else would slip up, guess what? Ryan Dungey capitalized. So in that way, I feel like the 3 are a little bit different.
Let's move on from Jett. I kind of vaguely recall throughout the season a Eli Tomac podium tracker. Where are we with that?
It's pretty impressive. Last year, it was all about the wins for Eli Tomac. Now it's all about the podiums. Eli Tomac this season with his 6 podiums becomes the most visited to the podium rider in the history of the sport. That's both Supercross and Motocross. That's the small bike class and the Premier class. He's got 218 podiums, so just absolutely impressive. He passes Ricky Carmichael, had 216 podiums, so rare air. He's also now second all-time in Premier Class combined, second in Pro Motocross. He's third, tied with Ryan Dungey in Supercross Premier Class. So just absolutely impressive. JT, when I look at this, there's an interesting piece on longevity, but what do you think is interesting about Eli here, starting to hit into that record-breaking podium streak stuff?
Well, when I look at riders of Eli's caliber, I think they fall into 2 different categories. One, there's riders that get all these stats through accumulation. You know, maybe they never win that title, but they've just been an elite rider for years and years. You think about a guy like maybe Kevin Windham could fall into that category. Fantastic rider, didn't get the championships, but his stats are really impressive because of the length of his career. Eli Tomac has had both, right? There were certain times that he was absolutely considered the best rider on the planet, at least in America, without question. But he also has this accumulation of stats because he's been there for so long. So he is that rare breed that has the, decade plus of elite status, plus all of the championships and wins to go along with it. So he kind of falls into this very rare category of having both.
Yeah, I circle all the way back to this longevity thing and how much more common it is now. And that's going to be the real thing. If Jett Lawrence gets anywhere close to that Jeremy McGrath 72 record, McGrath was winning races at, for his time, an extremely old age, like 28. Now it's totally normal for riders to go into their 30s, and you got a crazy stat to illustrate that, Clinton.
Right? Yeah, there's incredible. There's 5 riders now that are in the top 15 of the all-time Supercross starts. Active riders. You got Eli Tomac at 7th all-time. You got Kyle Chisholm at 9th. Justin Barcia, 10th. Jason Anderson, 14th. Ken Roxon, 15th. And in many ways, this is one of those accumulation stats. But I think the important piece here is it demonstrates the depth of the field. There's just a ton of guys that have been riding, and quite frankly, at a very competitive level. Those 5 riders combined for nearly 100 wins, right? So JT, just absolutely impressive to see these sort of riders still riding, still getting wins, still getting podiums. What's that mean moving forward?
Well, I love the added longevity for these riders, and you wonder if it's the pressure cooker that Ricky Carmichael and Ryan Villopoto and Ryan Dungey lived under. Is that not so much of a thing for these guys? A guy like Jason Anderson, did they have that spotlight on them where it was win or bust all the time? And not having that, did it allow them to maybe stick around a little bit longer? But I also think that we've come a long way. You think about the science behind health and training and all these things. Maybe that's adding a little bit longer life to these riders as far as, you know, the livelihood that they can spend in this. Maybe not training quite as hard, but maybe training a little bit smarter. But the great thing is that the fans and all three of us get to watch these stars stick around. They're not retiring at 27 anymore. They're retiring in their earlier mid-30s, which is just another decade of excellence for us to get to witness.
Clinton, great data. We'll talk motocross next week.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, that's going to do it for this show, but we're headed right to Pro Motocross. On this show, next week, we will have a motocross preview edition of SMX Insider. And if you want to watch the opener for Pro Motocross, that's May 25th, Saturday. 1 o'clock, we'll kick off Race Day Live qualifying coverage, 1 o'clock East. And 4 o'clock Eastern, the gate will drop for the motos. This is the continuation of a 31-round championship, but when it's round one of a different discipline, there isn't an atmosphere, I feel, in racing quite like that great unknown when the gate's dropping for the first time.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.